Hey y'all, welcome to Girl Meets Screen. My name's Norma, your host of whatever. We're back in the car. Listen, backgrounds will be a little bit more permanent soon, hopefully. We're working on it, but if you didn't already know, I've moved from Ohio to Massachusetts, and it's a transitional period. Anyways, we're jumping right in. This episode was the drama we needed, but not the drama we wanted. I was already 6 levels over this shit, but it's fine. Two things that happened before the whole mail thing starts that I kind of want to just throw out there. One is Nick and Huda having a conversation, I think, about the whole Shelly thing, and he's like, yeah, it was just a bit much, whatever. He's like, but I just wanted you to know that I have your back if no one does, right? He's like, it's like Huda against the Villa, whatever. Just want to note that for later. That he is on your side, love you down, girl. And then we have Amaya talking to Zach, essentially being like, yesterday you was hanging with the boys. You didn't really pull me for a chat. And essentially, I feel like what he was getting at was he just needed a break from her, if you ask me. Which is something. And I think that's probably really irritating for Amaya because that's what all the guys have said or done. Damn, I'm gonna be looking like a donut by the end of this. But anywho. Another key point I just want noted for later, okay? So let's jump into this mail thing because that's literally what this episode was about. Before the mail thing, there are different people having different conversations just about what's happening in the house. We see Nick and Sierra and Iris and TJ acting like they're the old married couples of the villa, doing the absolute most. And I need Sierra to wake up. Despiértate, mi niña, despiértate. Austin is first up. He gets one question, I believe. I don't remember who it's from, but it was about not giving effort. And he's kind of just I've given everyone 100%, having conversations, Jaden kind of stands up for him and she's like, you've shown effort. And he's like, thank you. And then he's like, thanks everyone, and sits down. They do the whole clap thing. Next up is Sierra, and the first thing she gets, it's for her and Nick about them having sex and how everyone can hear them. And she says, we try to be as respectful as possible. Respectful as possible would be just not fucking sleeping together in a room full of people. Listen, no, you know what? Let me not judge. Because if that's your cup of tea, that's your cup of tea. But that's not respectful. I'm just going to be real with you. Just be we don't really care. Rather than being we try to be respectful. Because the respectful thing would be to not do that in there. It's beds side by side, bro. Chill out. I cracked up at Taylor, eyes wide looking. Pepe then asks Sierra about dropping Hannah, not understanding the reasoning, the logic for dropping Hannah. And they get super defensive, and basically Sierra says the same thing again. She had 2 strong connections she got to explore. The other girls didn't get to explore, so we sent her home. They're like, oh, we want people who are exploring, right? That's the guys thing, that's Ace thing. That little crew, Shelly, Alondria, Ace, Taylor, Nick, that little clearly clique of a friendship, I'm sick of that exploring bullshit because it only applies to specific people. Because Nick makes a comment with Huda about a different couple and how she should have got sent home because that couple had a strong connection. We'll talk about that in Huda's go. And so it's I'm not understanding because your logic about exploring doesn't make sense considering Taylor and Alondria explored nobody the whole time. And y'all were pissed when Taylor did decide to explore. What are we talking about? It makes absolutely no fucking sense, not to mention it's Love Island. Yeah, you're exploring, but if you find somebody you're connected with, you connect with them. What are y'all talking about? It clearly was a producer that must have gathered that specific group of people and was like, listen, we need y'all to be tearing shit up because exploring has to go on a little bit longer or something. I don't think the producers realized they fucked up because now there's not a single strong connection in that house, and it's pissing me off. Well, actually, Clark and Taylor are. We'll talk about Clark and Taylor. Amaya goes up, or Amaya Papaya, and the first one is just it was a question mark and saying about her snoring, how she swears she don't snore but she be waking people up. And that was Chris, which I thought was so funny because the night before when they're talking about her snoring, Chris is like, no, it's low or something, it's not super loud or anything or something, and it cracks me up because then he's like, it wakes me up. But it was a cute little one. And then, of course, she gets one from Austin, which is, well, Austin says that after. It says anonymous. But saying that she cries too much, too much emotion or whatever. And she's just I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. But I don't think that crying too much or emotions is a sign of weakness. I think it's a strength. It's like a power that I have or whatever. And then basically like like Ace is like, oh, like you very much wear your heart on your sleeve and that can be a lot and you need to meet people where they're at, yada, yada, yada. And then I think I want to say, it was Brian. Yeah. Brian makes the comment of like, you know, I do want to say that in Hispanic culture, babe, mi vida, mi amor, like it's just kind of terms of endearment you use with everyone. And he's like, and so if you're saying meet people where they are, you also have to be willing to meet her where she's at. And Ace is like, I do. And it's like, no, you don't, bro. Like you literally went off on her about the babe thing. And she tried to explain to you, it's just what she calls everyone. So like, what are we really talking about here? And then Austin like continues to try to explain himself. And you know, she's just kind of like, if I'm not your cup of tea, like, cool, let me be. Like, it's all good. Like, no problems. But then, Zach, listen, I'm not going to judge him for this because I think he probably was just, like, really overwhelmed and overstimulated by the situation that him and Amaya were having or dealing with or whatever. But he speaks up and he's like, yeah, it's just, like, it can be a bit much. Like, and, you know, when there's so much going on and you're, like, also, like, you know, sometimes you just got to tone it down or whatever. He was saying shit like that. And she's like, I don't want to fucking hear from you because you could have said this shit when we was talking. You would say none of this shit. No, and I would. Like, I was trying. Zach, shut up because you didn't. She's right. She's right. Like, why? She's like, now you're taking this opportunity to do it in front of everybody. Like, what the fuck? So she just goes off and she walks away crying. Sierra and Huda go to comfort her. And I cannot stand Sierra right now. But, you know, we do have to say that was amazing. I loved that she was like, no one knows how to be Amaya but Amaya. Don't let anyone tell Amaya how to be Amaya. And I was like, thank God. Because that's the thing. These tiny little fucking... Ace and his little man syndrome. Zach is fucking lame now. Austin, what the fuck is wrong with Austin for real? But like, just because y'all don't like her personality doesn't mean she has to change it. Like, oh, meet people where they're at. Oh, I hate that shit, okay? And people talk about that shit all the time. People dimming people's shine and telling people like, oh, you gotta relax. She don't gotta relax. I promise you she's gonna find a man who loves that about her. Who loves her loudness, who loves her expressiveness, who loves the heart on her sleeves-ness about her. Like, leave her the fuck alone. That should piss me off. And then Ace trying to run after her. What the fuck were you gonna do, Ace? You literally just went off on her for no fucking reason. Are you gonna go give her a hug? Like, and he was walking over there hella aggressively. Like, I felt like he was just gonna go over there and be like, this the shit we talking about. And like, make it worse. Like, oh my God, Ace, go away. Yeah. Pepe gets up, and I believe he only gets one question. I don't think we hear who it's from. And it's essentially like, you're still stuck on Hannah. What are you doing with Grayson type of thing? And yeah, Grayson gets upset, and she's like, yeah, clearly if it's still a talk in the villa, it's still an issue. Like, what's going on? Like, what are you saying that's making this still a topic of conversation? And, you know, he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I get it. She, you know, she was like, you know that I'm trying to find love. He's like, I do. And he's just like, you know, it's just how I'm feeling. Can't help how I feel. Which I agree with. I think, like, Grayson was doing a bit much. But I think it was just coming from a place of anger of, like, I've wasted a couple days on you. And this shit could have been nipped in the bud a couple days ago so that I could have found an actual connection. I honestly think she'll be fine. I feel like Grayson and Elin are probably gonna connect. Next up is Ace, and this man walks up there like he is ready to murder everyone. Like, he walked up there so aggressively, already angry, like on sight. It was a little bit unnerving. His first question is from, I believe, Amaya Papaya. And it was basically like, oh, if you and Chili's connection is so strong, why isn't it closed off? And he basically says, she don't want to close it off. She's exploring, and that's okay. And Amaya's like, perfect answer. Which it was. I don't know why. I mean, maybe she hasn't talked to Shelly or him about it, but whatever. That's what he says. Then Austin is next, and Austin's thing to Ace is basically like, oh, the Ace posse, like, they just follow you, and, like, the Jeremiah thing, like, it just didn't make sense, whatever. Yeah, he's basically saying, like, oh, you kind of use that power to, like, gang up and get Jeremiah out. And then Ace is like, I stand on business. You don't. That's the difference. I say my shit. You don't. You wouldn't tell Amaya that you ain't even like her. And Austin is kind of like, well, no, I was, like, battling both. And he's kind of like, I was talking to my friends about what I was struggling with, which is Ace, between Ace and Alondria in this shit, I'm annoyed because your friends tell you shit in confidence and you're like, yeah, remember what you said. Like, that shit is so fucking lame to me. I don't care if you fall out with somebody, the shit they tell you in confidence stays in fucking confidence. Oh, I'm getting mad. But that shit is foul and it's lame as fuck. And it's more of a reflection of you than anybody else. And we're going to talk about that with Alondria. But yeah, he's going off. And then Amaya gets in. Amaya's like, what the hell? Like, yeah, like you didn't tell me like all of that, which is like, of course he didn't. I understand. I don't like Austin. Let's be clear. But I get it when it's like you're talking through your feelings with a friend. And if what he said is true, he does say like, I did still like her. Like I wasn't like wanting it to be completely over. I was just like talking through the other side of it with friends. And then like, Ace, you out here doing that foul shit. Like you lame as fuck for that. But Ace goes the fuck off on him. And then Amaya's just like over Austin. Oh yeah. And she like isn't sitting next to Zach. She like went off on Zach. She was like, I don't even want to talk to you. Stop talking to me. Like, we're done. Shelly's up next. Her first question is from Ace, basically saying like, I'm not understanding the boundaries conversation. You want to explore, but you're trying to put boundaries on me. And again, I'm in agreement with Ace in that, where it's like, it does not make logical sense to like try to like, I get it. I do understand what she's meaning by it, but it's just a difficult situation to try to set boundaries in. Because also, though, it wouldn't be if you were acknowledging his boundaries. Because I felt like the conversation was essentially him being like, you're over here, like, yeah, you're exploring Chris, but you're like doubling back to him in challenges and then telling me I can't like do things with certain people in challenges. And that's where it gets complicated. Like, sure, maybe Huda did too much with him, but she's made a mountain out of a molehill, by the way, with that, but that's besides the point. I think she's trying to, because he's telling her, right, like, I kind of have a boundary about you with Chris, right? Like, maybe her doubling back to him on her own on top of him pulling her, like, that is a lot. And he's like, that made me upset. So that kind of sounds like him trying to be like, there could be a conversation about a boundary with you and Chris for me in that situation. And, like, how do you explore that connection? And she's kind of dismissing that, but then being like, but this boundary I have with you needs to be respected. It's like, girl, what are you talking about? Next, Brian asks Shelly why her and Chris haven't had a convo since Casa Amor, and he says it feels avoidant. And she's basically like, yeah, I feel like there is avoiding. I feel like things that were said were not followed through. And then Chris is like, what were the things that were said that weren't followed through? And she's basically like, you put zero effort, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, girl, please, I'm sick of Shelly. I'm sick of Alondria. I'm sick of Sierra. I want all these people the fuck out of here. Like, let's just start over at this point. I hate these people. I don't hate them. Hate is a strong word. But I'm fucking sick of her because what the fuck more did you want him to do? He pulled you in the challenge to make it clear that he's into you, right? He made you breakfast in the morning. Like, there's not much more than that he could have done other than snatching you away from Ace every time you're talking to Ace. Like, and now I'm realizing she is the fucking issue. She doesn't fully want Ace or Chris or Austin or anyone. I think she just wanted these men fighting for her because it was the same thing with Austin. I don't want to have to reassure him. Like, I want him to just fight and be confident in his fight. What the fuck are you, like, they can't do more than what they're doing other than snatching you from Ace every moment or trying to beef with Ace over you. Like, I'm not understanding what more, what more they could do to, like, make that clear. Like, for you, like, mind you, in this specific situation, he really isn't really the one who has to do much because you are the one who's still exploring. Ace and Chris are both comfortable talking to you. Like, had you really talked to Chris, him and Huda's connection wouldn't have strengthened the way it did. So it's like, they both wanted you, like, first, like, priority. So it's on you, really. Like, he can't do much more. Like, it's just so stupid to me. Next up, Huda gives her a note, basically saying, like, oh, what happened to it's just a challenge, because that's what she was saying to her with Jeremiah. And Shelly claims that what she meant by that was that they were bombshells who she didn't know coming in, and she was like ready to fight them, and she didn't even know them, and they didn't know her or Jeremiah or their dynamic. So now that's the difference we're trying to make, is you were trying to beef with women who didn't know you, you knew me and still did it, yada yada yada. Here's my final stance, because I feel like I've talked about this is the third episode where we'll be talking about it, but it's still relevant, obviously. It was just a challenge. Shelly could be entitled to feel like Huda did too much. However, to claim this person is so close to me, how dare she do that? It's strange to me that you're claiming this closeness, but you automatically assume your friend was like only thinking about herself, being vindictive, being vicious, like that shit was foul. I would assume the best of my friends. So if I'm in Shelly's situation, I would pull Huda for a chat and be like, Huda, that was a lot, girl. Like, what was that? Like, do you like him? Like, what's going on? It has me feeling some type of way. How come you had these boundaries with Jeremiah? Like, what's going on? And then Huda would be like, I'm sorry. Like, I really did not mean to hurt you. I didn't mean anything by it. I was just in the challenge. It was a heart rate challenge. I was whatever. Right? You feel what I'm saying? And then it's done. To take it to the extent Shelly has taken, it makes no fucking sense. And no, I don't care that maybe there was more. They cut the footage and it got like, it was a challenge. You were also kissing Chris. You were also on Chris' head. And it was a challenge. Also, another thing with boundaries, because let's be clear here. Your boundaries are not the same boundaries as other people's. So it's a little bit insane to assume that because, okay, so like with Huda and Shelly, Huda set up boundary, right? The girls all knew, like, don't mess with Jeremiah. That's a boundary that she wants. We're her friends, so we respect it, right? That is Huda's boundary. Huda cannot assume you have the same boundary. Now, this is just an example in their specific boundary, but just in general with boundaries, I'm not going to assume that someone else has the same boundaries I do. They will tell me their boundaries. And so in a situation like this, it's a learning curve. Like, she wasn't being malicious. She didn't want Ace. It was just a challenge. And so as her being a good friend of yours, you would sit down with her and say, hey, that was a lot. Can't happen anymore. Exactly like Huda said. She was like, listen, it hurt you. I will never do that again. Like, it is that simple. To drag it out the way she's dragging it out. To have Sierra and Alondria's corny asses backing this dumb shit up. I'm sorry. This may be a unpopular opinion, but this shit is fucking dumb. This has gone to an extent that you could not like Huda all you want. You could like her all you want. This shit is stupid. Basically, Huda's like, well, I understood that as it's just a challenge in general and wasn't understanding where it was coming. And, you know, like I said, Huda's like, it hurt you. I will not do that again. Like, I'm sorry. And all I can do is ask for forgiveness. Like, it is up to you what you want to do with that. Next up is Huda. And this is why I noted the Nick thing and was like, keep it in mind. Because her first thing is from Nick saying how Hannah should not have gone home because she shouldn't have been saved twice, acting the way she was acting. Because he voted her out both of those times. Because and then she's like, well, thanks for your candor. And honestly, I thought that was so bizarre to sit her down to be like, got your back, homies, day one, and then do that shit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with Nick? You guys, I cannot understand who this man is. Like, what is this human? Because why are you like this? But then he proceeds to explain, like, yeah, Hannah and Charlie had a really strong connection, and it just sucked to see that her have to leave it, and you getting to stay. Do we want people exploring, or we want them in couples? Because why is it that it was an issue that Huda and Jeremiah created a strong connection, but Charlie and Hannah's connection is cool, and it sucks that it got... What are we talking... Like, what the fuck are y'all on about? This shit makes no... And they all say it with their chest. They're all there for these conversations and still saying it with their chest. Sierra said what she said. They listened to Nick say what he said about Hannah and Charlie. Where is that same energy? Like, Sierra was hostile as fuck explaining why Hannah left, but now we're saying shut when Nick is saying, oh, Hannah had a strong connection, she should have stayed. Like, what? Make up our minds. Either everybody's exploring or everybody's falling in love. But it cannot be that for these specific people, not exploring is an issue and you should go home. But for these group of people, one connection is okay. Taylor and Alondria have been locked in since day one. Taylor has barely paid any attention to the bombshells. Neither has Alondria. Next up is Shelly, and she basically writes this thing about Huda not being a girl's girl, like her not, you know, setting those boundaries or loyalty, and how they were all loyal to her, but she wasn't loyal to them. She didn't extend the same shit. Again, what I said about the boundaries. No one has the same boundaries. You cannot assume people know your boundaries. You have to speak them. And so, like, the situation where this happened, you should have spoke it and move forward. Doing all of this is too much if you ask me. And then I think the second part of that, Shelly is basically like, oh, you claim it's a win-win, but like you're over here like talking to Chris. It makes no sense. You did that for you. Just say it's for you. Because that's what she was talking about when she was mad about the whole Ace situation. One of the things she said was like, she claimed that she brought Chris for me, but here she is talking to him, like, stand on business. And that's why Iris was like, yeah, just like be honest. And it's like, bitch, you don't even fucking know the situation. Because what's pissing me off about that is Shelly, in this moment herself, says, you're talking about a win-win. Okay, so that little sentence right there lets everyone know that Huda made it clear to Shelly she also wanted to explore Chris. So what are we talking about? You decided not to talk to Chris and then try to blame it on him and talking about, oh, well, he avoided da-da-da-da-da. If you want to explore the connection, explore the fucking connection, for one. For two, why are we trying to say, oh, she says she brought him back for me, but it wasn't for me? She didn't. She said it was for her and for you. So, like, there's no issue here. Like, this makes no fucking sense. It would make sense if Huda never said she wanted to explore Chris, but she did make that clear. So what are we actually talking about? Ugh. And then here, Alondria steps in with the, yeah, I know we don't kiss and tell, but you want to share with the class? And Huda's like, share what? You and Chris's kiss at the speakeasy. If you listen to my last few videos, I've been saying I really like Alondria. Like, I just need her to wake up. I don't like her anymore. Why the fuck would you do that? What the fuck does that even prove? And then Huda and Chris are like, that's our business. We didn't need to tell nobody that shit. What the fuck, Alondria? And she's like, no, because if you're going to claim that you did it for her, you did it for her. She's not fucking claiming that. I'm over here yelling. She literally said it was for me too. So what are we even talking about here? And this is why this little group and clique shit is so corny. It was corny in high school and it's corny now. Alondria and Sierra are so busy trying to be like, Team Shelly, we don't care her wrongs or her rights. Like, I don't even know what I just said there. But literally, it's like, even you're loud and wrong about the situation. She said she wanted to explore him too. So, like, the end, nothing else to talk about there. You're wrong. And Shelly, and you know what? I won't even blame too much. Alondria is still to blame for exposing that shit when she didn't need to. But I won't even blame her and Sierra for being on Shelly's side because Shelly has told a half truth. She said that was for me, that was for me. No, she said it was for both of you. You just said, she said it was a win-win. A win-win would mean you're both winning. And with Chris, that would mean you're both... Get out of my face with that, girl. I can't. Chris gets up and Chris is the fuck over it, baby. Chris was like, these are the answers. Any questions? Great. Chris gets up. Sierra asks if he has good intentions with Huda. He says, well, it was like a 2 or 3 part question, but this is Sierra's question. It's like, oh, did you have good intentions with Huda? He's like, I'm going to answer that first. Yes. The second part of the question was, did you pick Huda just to come back into the villa? He's like, I don't give a fuck about this villa. I could be overseas playing ball. Period, Chris. 6'7" king, period. Alondria's next, and basically it's a note from Clark telling her how she felt about the whole test comment, which I kind of talked about in my last video or the one before, whatever. And Alondria's basically like, yeah, like, I apologize if you took it that way. I just, yeah, I more so meant the beginning of it, like, y'all, you know, CASA happens so that there's a test for everyone, whatever. Like, apologizing and kind of being like, you know, no disrespect, like, I get it, you're chill, all good, right? Keep that in mind. Lock that in, okay? But that's Alondria's only, like, little question statement, whatever. And last but not least, we have Taylor, and baby, I like him. I like him. I knew I liked him. So my first thought, really quick, just to clarify the whole situation, I've been saying, like, I don't understand why he's leading Alondria on. I think he genuinely was still, like, trying to explore her, but I think he hadn't, like, his brain hadn't processed that he, like, wants Clark. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's like, because of him and Alondria's connection, it was like, okay, I should still be exploring that. But then his actions aren't showing that because, like, he doesn't really want that. So the first question Taylor gets, was from Alondria? No, it was anonymous. And it was like, how do you, like, switch up so quick? You had this long connection with Alondria. How does someone just coming in a couple days change your mind? And he's like, it was just a different feeling with Clark. And he explains it as having this kid feeling that is, like, slightly concerning, but I think the wording is just off. I think what he means is he might just be more of a carefree guy and he needs more of a carefree type of woman. Like, I hated the comments of people being like, oh, like, because Alondria requires him to be a man, because Alondria is a woman, Alondria is mature. And it's like, why do we have to bash Clark to, like, lift Alondria up? Clark is a wonderful person too. She hasn't shown us any, like, oh, she mocked her, and that sometimes happens. I do that shit. Sometimes it just slips out. Sometimes it's like, what do they call it? I forget what they call it. you just do it. You just do it instinctively, you know? But yeah, so I don't think that's a reason to like full on hate her and feel like you have to bash her to prove your point about Alondria. It just, you know, like that doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, I think by kid feeling, I think he just meant he can be more himself. Cause yeah, sometimes like, okay, with a woman with Alondria, I don't think it's like, oh, he's less mature or something's wrong with him. I think it's just different personalities, where with her, he felt like he had to be very like the mature version of himself. Not that it doesn't exist, but it's like that's not who he wants to be all the time, right? And so Clark kind of allows him to chill while still bringing that out of him. Huda interjects here and she's basically like, so why haven't you been exploring Alondria? And he's essentially just like, I've been doing the best I can. Like, I've been doing what I can do. His next note is from Alandria and it says, stop being a little B word, stand on motherfucking business. And he's like, okay. And basically Alandria goes off, okay? She's like, you just jumped onto the next girl that came along because shit got hard like that. That man ain't do nothing for me since this girl arrived. And she knew that because literally just moments before she was talking about how gentlemanly he is, and he's super gentlemanly, because she was comparing how Zach with a K is not as gentlemanly, but now he don't do nothing for you. Or since that girl arrived, because he likes her. Girl, move the fuck on! I'm sorry. We need to watch men's actions and not listen to their words. Well, I don't think Taylor was trying to be malicious or move weird. I think for Alondria, she should have seen how he was moving and been like, I'm going to move according to that and not what he said. Hello. My God. But she goes the fuck off. It's insane. I can't even remember word for word. But she goes off. And I loved his response. He's essentially like, you wanted me moving for you. I'm here to move for me. I'm here for me and my experience here. And I think that's the issue. When everybody was like, Taylor, what the hell? And Nick keeps Alondria because he's like, just in case Taylor changes his mind. And it's like, they all, like, a group of them decided that it's like, oh, we're just here to keep each other here. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like that's where the shock comes from. Is like, oh, you're just like dropping that connection and leaving her to maybe lose her experience. And it's like, okay, because he's here for his experience. And so if his experience is leading him to Clark, he's allowed to do that. Like, so yeah, I loved his response. I loved it. Very clear, very like, I'm here for me. Like, I'm here for this is my experience too. And you want me saving you on behalf of your experience. And you could tell she was like, he has a point, but I'm not gonna, like, that shit was golden. His last one is from Anonymous and it says, Taylor, make up your fucking mind. And he's like, oh, y'all want me to make up my mind? Okay. And then, you know, we have the tense edited silences and looks around, and then he says, I pick Clark. And I was like, fucking girl. I was in there like, I was at my brother's house with my sister-in-law, like, yes, pick Clark. Because no. And I'm sorry, I don't like Alondria simply for that shit she pulled with Huda. That shit was corny as fuck. I don't care how you feel about Huda. That shit was lame as fuck. But that's it. That's all we had this episode. This shit was heated. We got voting. I downloaded my app, voted for the first time. I should have been voting, but like, I forgot about that element of it. And so yeah, Chris is my favorite guy. Amaya is my favorite girl. I probably should have voted Huda so they could like stay as a couple, but it's okay. Love Amaya, love Chris. So that was my vote. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I wasn't too aggressive, but like, shit just be making me mad, okay? I'll be getting hot. Like the video if you enjoyed. Comment down below, who did you vote for if you voted? If you didn't vote, who would you have voted for? Subscribe for more content like this, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!